He's back. Almost.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. I'm not sure which way.
I learned the mirrored thing for people that aren't watching on YouTube. Our cameras, I think they're called mirrored, which means that Luke, to me, looks like
I've been doing this the whole time, and everybody's like, "Why is Luke pointing to the ether?" I mean,
to point at Luke, I've got to point to my right when actually on the screen he's left. It is a little. They didn't tell me anything about this in law school.
Thank you, everydayers, for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks to everybody for making this your first listen every single day. This episode is brought to you by GameTime. We'll talk about GameTime here in just a little bit. Jimmy, a lot of things to discuss. First of all, Alabama got a victory last night. It was an easy victory, unlike some other teams in the state. We didn't even have to go to overtime against somebody that's far below our standards. But injury updates, we're going to talk about those first. We also want to talk about some favorite LSU games of the past. I mean, this really is a funky, fun rivalry. And I don't think some people who listen to this show know how good some of the games were in the 80s and 90s because, frankly, they weren't alive. But let's start with some injury updates. First of all, it sounds like Qua Russoaws is like right there on coming back. Now, he's not going to be back this week. There is at least an opportunity, a chance, scintilla of hope that he will be back for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm even somewhat expecting Qua Russoaws. Now, it's not like breaking news, and it's not reporting he will be. I'm just saying I believe from what I read and who I talk to that I think Qua Russoaws is very we'll see him against Oklahoma. That's what I believe. Now, that said, his replacement, Yonzae Pierre, all he's done is turn into, honestly, one of the best football players on the team, in my opinion. I mean, we're going to rank the roster at the end of the year like we always do. That's a lot of fun for us and for everybody out there. And when we do rank the roster, Yonzae Pierre is going to be up there. He's turned into a heck of a football player. But that is not to say you can't use Qua Russoaws, who remains the best edge setter amongst the Wolves. And when we play teams that run the ball, and that's a lot of teams, he's going to be extremely valuable. But boy, just having that Russoaws-Pierre 1-2 punch is going to be so helpful to this defense. So I'm excited about getting Qua Russoaws back, and also excited about the continued development of number 42, Yonzae Pierre. He's fantastic. Best French player we've ever signed out of Eufaula.
I mean, it's a long list. I think it's Eufaula is how they like to pronounce it there in Cajun country of Eufaula. But Qua Russoaws, having him back is so big because he probably is our best run-stopping dude at that position. Yonzae Pierre has been great, don't get me wrong, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to have some depth. And, in the end, I guess all things remaining equal, had we known that we would go undefeated from Qua Russoaws' injury till now, we would probably be like, okay, this is pretty good for Yonzae Pierre to get all this experience. And now they can sort of be together. And while Qua Russoaws reacclimates himself to playing time, at the first we were nervous because we thought Qua Russoaws, oh my God, this is one of our better run stoppers, and he's out. And what it has done is allowed Yonzae Pierre to get better at his position, and it didn't cost us a win.
And he got better at the one thing that we were worried. I mean, what I was worried about was the run stopping. I mean, I knew even when we replaced Yonzae, we said right here on the show when Qua Russoaws was out and he was replaced by Yonzae, we're like, hey, folks, pass rush probably improved. Yonzae's a better pass rusher than Qua Russoaws today. The problem is that position doesn't require you to rush the passer on every single down. There's other things you have to do. Quay's really good at that stuff. Yonzae struggles. Guess what? Watch the tape now. Yonzae has turned those struggles into a pretty positive asset. He has developed each week getting better at the run stopping, the edge setting, the pass coverage. He's improved rapidly in those areas, to the point that him and Qua Russoaws no doubt are going to be sharing this position going forward. And the larger point for everyone to recognize here is that you can improve on the practice field, and they get better and better as they get older and more experienced on the practice field. But nothing speeds up your development like playing in the games. And I do think that all of this game experience, there's weeks Yonzae Pierre plays as many snaps as any defender on the field. And that, I think, has sped up his development insofar as all this other stuff that he had to get better at, in addition to the pass rusher. I mean, that kid kind of fell out of the womb rushing the passer. I mean, he's really good at that. That's why you recruited him in the first place.
You think he like fell out of the womb and then tackled one of the nurses?
Well, that'd be rude. That'd be rude, but probably. I mean, his pass rushing tape out of Eufaula was fantastic. I mean, he was a big time recruit. Why? Because
he was a dude.
Boy, he could get downhill. But see, that's the thing. When you play linebacker, it's not defensive end. When you play linebacker, which is a stand-up position, you got to run really well in three directions. Downhill, which is his best thing, laterally, which is hard, even backwards, which is really hard when you're 240 pounds. But you got to do all those things. You got to rush the passer. You got to play the run game laterally. You got to drop into coverage and then play in coverage. And those are the harder things for 240-pound humans.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So that's the biggest injury news. I mean, of course, you got the regular nicks and scratches and bangs and bumps. One other thing that's not so much injury related, but I think we got to touch on it, and that's Dre Kirkpatrick getting busted.
Yeah.
I say busted. It sounds as though he was pulled over, and then as the officer either approached the car or got near the car, or maybe Kirkpatrick panicked a little bit, and then he almost hit some other people, and then he turned something very minor. You know what it reminds me of? I go down this rabbit hole of YouTube videos for some reason, and now the algorithm has caught me, so I see them all the time, of people who take something very minor at the airport and turn it into they are almost a terrorist threat by the time they're done, because they have argued or they're so drunk or they're whatever. And like they take something very minuscule and turn it into something where they can never fly again. And that's what this is. This is, Kirkpatrick Jr. gets pulled over, probably going to be a big sack of nothing. I mean, maybe a fine, whatever. And then you turn it into, oh, now you're indefinitely suspended. Let's not pretend like he's
going to jail. Very few people go to jail when they're pulled over for speeding, but he went to jail.
And I don't know if there was something else in the car that made him want to leave. I don't know if this was, he's been conditioned through whatever circumstance that, hey, if you get pulled over, bad things are going to happen, and just try and get out of there. But that's such a bad way to be conditioned, because it's not, I've never heard of, and maybe you just don't hear them because they're good at it. I've never heard of anybody evading the cops and like never getting caught.
Yeah.
Have you?
I think it happens in those LA freeway chases that are
or
on
those
TV.
I thought you were going to say the video games.
Some guys get away, I think, on those freeway, but the odds of it are 1,000,000 to 1. You can outrun another car, but this is what you can't outrun: the radio.
Well,
you can't outrun the radio. I mean,
other cars don't have CBs that communicate and say he's coming your way. I mean, it's.
And there's helicopters.
I've never understood that dynamic. Remember, was it Stetson Bennett? Remember when he tried to take off from the cops and there were like 6 cops, and he was hammered out of his mind, and he tried to run, and then he busted his butt. And I was like,
You're not sacking me
runner to begin with.
Yeah, you're not sacking me, Yonzae Pierre.
But I mean,
I'll outrun you this time. Now, Dre made a horrific snap judgment decision, and he's paying for it. And the thing that stinks for us as Alabama football fans, 2 things. I'm real disappointed that we have a player that behaved badly. By the way, I behaved badly at that age. I didn't run from the police, but I think we all did things at 18, 19, 20 years old that we regret as we get older. This is one of those things, and he doesn't need to be forever scarred over this. It's a lesson. But It hurts the football team. This is a good player. Now, I know he was only really playing what we would refer to now as garbage time, but he did play with the ones. I mean, he would come in with the ones. I I, I loved him at Husky in the spring. I don't know why they moved him back to safety, because I thought this spring at Husky, he looked like a serious contender to win the spot. That's what he looked like to me. Dre is a future starter, but this Nick Saban, who's so conditioned us all about this. You know what Nick Saban would be saying to Dre? Dre, what you did has nothing to do with football and everything to do with football. Nothing to do with football and everything to do with. How can I trust you to do the football things? How can I trust you to
That's a
do
great
the
point.
football things when this is what your behavior? So that's how big a deal it would be to Nick. And by the way, for those, DeBoer is a player's coach, but applaud DeBoer for taking a pretty hard, indefinite suspension. Now, I love how hey, he might be back for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He might not be back till 2026.
He might be back for LSU. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
But that's
I
the
like
beauty
how
of it.
exactly. It's the beauty of how DeBoer handled. We don't know, nor do we deserve to know as fans. The fans do not deserve to know how they're going to help Dre Kirkpatrick change his behavior. We don't deserve to know that. We do deserve to know as fans who's available to play in the games. I think that's fair. That, hey, who can play and who cannot play this weekend? But we don't deserve to know how many stadium steps he's running, or how many extra study hall hours he's getting.
I would suspend him an extra game just because he didn't even come up with like a good name like Brandon Chicken. I mean, you got to at least give us something. I mean, Brandon Chicken is like the best thing that's ever. I mean, what a great name. I mean, and he could have used that. He could have said, I don't know, Dre Nuggets.
I'm Brandon Chicken now. What that guy say?
I'm Brandon Chicken the second.
I'm the captain now thing. I'm the Brandon Chicken now.
I'm Brandon Chicken the second. I would have given anything if he had a fake ID that said I'm Brandon Chicken the second.
I've seen Alabama football jerseys at games with
with chicken
on the back, Brandon Chicken, or chicken on the back. Yeah, I mean that went on and on for a while.
It's so dumb. It's great though. All right, so FanDuel, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game, no sweat. Or if you want to ride that hot hand, go for it. FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making the late push. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's crazy talk. So head to FanDuel.com and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
I'll start doing that NBA part again soon.
Yeah, I gotta start giving you that again.
Yeah,
gotta give you some more.
Just let me know if they change it back. Just let me know before they change it back to the NFL. You're looking at the read and I'm not. So if they change it back to the NFL, give me a heads up.
That would be funnier though if I did some live reads and then you just had to do like Mad Lib style, fill in the blank, whatever.
I like them. They could be the official betting partner of European soccer for all I know.
They probably are. Jimmy, we want to talk about some favorite games of LSU past. Very quickly though, you and I found out some information from a friend who did a deep dive into Josh Cuevas.
Yeah, this was interesting.
Explain why Josh Cuevas is even more interesting than we thought.
Well, I mean, I knew that Josh Cuevas was from Hollywood, and I've always thought that was fun because there's a kid on the team named Hollywood. But we all watched. I say we all of us old people watched like Beverly Hills 90210, and it's kind of fascinating to me to go to high school in Hollywood or in Beverly Hills. That's where the cool kids are, right? I mean, that's just an interesting thing. And here's a kid on Alabama's football team that grew up in North Hollywood and went to high school. And I thought that was cool in and of itself. But a buddy looked up and he actually went to, I think you might have it in front of me. I think he went to a place called Campbell Hall, which is an exclusive private school in Hollywood. So it's not only Hollywood, it's an exclusive private school. Costs something like $60,000 a year to go to school there. I mean, my law school didn't cost that much. I mean, this is a nice place. Of course, I went to law school back in the prehistoric age. I'm sure it costs that now. But so he goes to this private high school, and I don't have the list in front of me, but obviously there's going to be some notable alumnus of this high school because it's an exclusive high school in Hollywood. I believe Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen went to high school there. Paul Thomas Anderson, who's one of the most famous directors in the world, he went to school there. Oh, the other Olsen girl, who's the super talented actress, Elizabeth Olsen, who's an Avenger, for God's sakes, an Avenger. And again, I don't have the list in front of me, but I mean, how super cool is that? And Josh isn't too far. I mean, who knows? He probably went to school with someone who's either famous now or is shortly to be at his age. And it's just kind of unusual. I mean, we talked before about Yonzae Pierre going to Eufaula. We got this kid going to Hollywood High School with all the directors and actors, so pretty neat.
Two very different high school experiences. Now let's talk about, since we did our little Cuevas deep dive, we got to cut into this, but what's your favorite LSU Alabama game of all time? Of all time?
You sprung that on me this morning, and it would almost take me like forever to come up because there's so many. This game's very memorable to me. I consider Tennessee and Auburn to be the real rivals, and the LSU rivalry really took off after the Saban hire. That's when it really got ratcheted up. I'm going to surprise everybody, maybe disappoint a lot of people, but I'm going to bring up a loss. The 2011 game of the century, Alabama-LSU game. I'll never forget it. It was the most surreal Alabama game ever. The number of celebrities, who knows how many people from Josh Cuevas' high school were at this game. I mean, the celebrities. I remember LeBron James being there. A-Rod was there. Derek Jeter was there. I mean, and there's no telling who else was there. The world wanted to attend this game. And then the game didn't disappoint. Apparently it disappointed a lot of TV executives, and it disappointed fans who don't care about Alabama-LSU or fantastic football. But Alabama and LSU would put 22 players on the field, regardless of who had the ball. And of the 22 players on the field, about 21 and a half of them would go on to become a big-time NFL player, both sides of the ball. The talent level in that game was ridiculous. And then the game plays out into overtime, where Alabama loses at home. Now, as we all know, maybe it's a good memory because we know Alabama gained revenge and beat the same team 21-0 in the national championship game in New Orleans. But I'll never forget the atmosphere of that game. It seems like every 5 years we come up with, this is a game of the century. That truly felt like a 100-year event in Tuscaloosa where the eyes of the world were on the stadium. Tickets were outrageously priced for a regular season game. You were probably paying $1,000 the week of the game or more to get into the stadium. And again, celebrities everywhere. It really felt like a Super Bowl, and the game played out very exciting. I hate that Alabama lost it, but again, we gained revenge later that year.
There's a podcast out. Brad Wing, a former punter, and another former LSU player were talking about that game. And the other player was like, we didn't want to play. ESPN told us, hey, you're going to be playing Alabama when it gets announced. They found out just a second before or whatever. They said, so y'all got to look excited. They were like, we're not excited. We got out of there by the skin of our teeth. Frankly, we shouldn't have won the game. And we didn't want to play them again. We knew we were in trouble. And I just thought that was very interesting. I was at that game. It was bananas. LeBron James was there. It was funky. It was a wild atmosphere. Even though I wasn't at this game, 2020 was unbelievable. Devontae Smith, just that one-handed catch that won him the Heisman. I mean, everything won him the Heisman, but that was his Heisman moment. Excuse me. But and I can think about some other ones. I've been to a lot of Alabama LSU games, a whole lot of them, because if you don't know, my first wife was an LSU grad, and so she and I went to a lot of them. I've been to some other LSU games. And anyway, my favorite one, even though I didn't go, I think my favorite one, every time I think Alabama LSU, I can't help but think about 1996, Shaun Alexander, 4 touchdowns, and Ron Franklin was just like in disbelief because LSU scored on their opening drive, but it got called back, I think, for holding. And then they missed a field goal. And it was just like Katie barred the door from that moment. And they just couldn't get anything going. Jared DiNardo was befuddled by Shaun Alexander. Alexander had like a 17-yard rush for a touchdown. Everybody's like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Then he had, I think, a 73-yarder, and he was like, he needs a block. I remember Ron Franklin saying, needs a block, and he gets it from Michael Vaughn. And then there's a 70. I'll never forget Michael Vaughn from Vicksburg, Mississippi, because I used to go over there and drive over there to the casino before they had one in Philadelphia, which was much closer when I was at Alabama. But then he had a 72-yarder like a couple of drives later, and Ron Franklin said, he won't need a block this time. You can just count it. I mean, like that quote just sticks in my head. And then he had another run for a touchdown of about 20 some odd yards late in the game. And all I could think was, man, let this guy get 300 yards rushing. Let him get 300 yards rushing.
290.
I think it was 290. Was it
294, 296?
Shoot.
It was up there. And how about this? I was at, back when I was a student, back in the
291
in the prehistoric age,
on 20 carries.
I was at the game in Baton Rouge in '89, famously known for the Lee Osment 2-point conversion play.
He's still running.
He
He's
has
at the
crossed the goal line. Yeah, from the latest news report, breaking, he's past midfield. Lee Osment was a defensive back on the '89 team. For those too young to remember, don't know the story, but LSU scored. They're going for two. It was intercepted by safety Lee Osment. Different era of football. Lee Osment, not the fleetest of foot, but he somehow returned the 2-point conversion 100 yards. So he intercepts it and runs it all the way back for 2 points. It could have taken a full minute of clock time.
They went to break.
We were flagged for delay of game during the play.
It's the slowest I've ever seen anybody run a football.
It's like Sid Bream, for those Braves fans. Sid Bream rounding third base.
I even get that.
Painfully getting to the plate ahead of the throw from Barry Bonds to send the Braves to the World Series is a lot like that. And that joyous, as much as we joke about it, how cool is it though that Osment, has that play and we're still talking about it 36 years later. Pretty cool. But Alabama won that game in Baton Rouge, as Alabama always won in Baton Rouge during that era.
And going back, I remember Michael Vaughn after Shaun Alexander's second 72-yard run. He does the "we're not worthy" thing right in front of him. It was just. I'll tell you who else. I'll never forget. I don't know why I always remember this. I think it was because it was right before Shaun Alexander's second big run. Shamari Buchanan from Atlanta. Remember how excited we were about him, number 84? And we talked about old number 84s yesterday. He had a catch in that game. They're like, this is a freshman from Atlanta. They're so excited about it. Now, he never really came on. But something else is interesting. Dennis Riddle had 15 carries for 84 yards in that game. We ran all over those dudes. And Kevin Falk had 14 carries for 45 yards. I mean, who would have thought at the time? Because nobody knew what Shaun Alexander could be in that moment.
And boy, it shows how the run game has changed. If we have a running back that runs for 86 yards this Saturday, I will be shocked.
We're going to put him in the AHSA Hall of Fame. Alabama, not AHSA. You know what I mean. Doesn't matter. Let me tell everybody about Game Time. Y'all know I love Game Time. You love Game Time. Jimmy loves Game Time. He's going to use Game Time shortly, and I'm going to use it to go to Madison Square Garden this weekend. College football is back. I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping up at checkout. Who wants that? That's why I use Game Time. The app that gives the advantage back to the fans is the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices. Yeah, baby. I pulled up Game Time, and in a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games for as low as $25. And basketball, even better deals. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege. It's all one word for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply because they apply to everything. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege, $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Jimmy Stein, guaranteed.
Well, Game Time is going to be a hot app for the Morgan Wallen concert, April 18th in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, Wednesday, and I'll be there.
Well, let me tell you, I don't know if I'm supposed to say. I would give this guy credit, but I'm not gonna because I'm scared I'm not supposed to say it. So if I don't say who it is, I don't think he can get in trouble. But a little birdie told me that they may be doing concerts in lieu of things like A-Day in the future.
Right.
Like A-Day is a money loser for those who don't know. And so we may not be doing A-Days as much anymore. We may be doing other things to help make up ground on revenue share.
No one told me that, but to me, I just added 2 and 2. As soon as I saw the date and somebody said, well, that's the same day as A-Day. They're going to play A-Day and then do the concert. You can't set Morgan Wallen doesn't play on a stage like they set up at Galette's. I mean, the Morgan Wallen stage takes up, 30 yards of the football field, and it's a massive show. You can't play a football game once his trucks arrive and start setting up. And by the way, for those that, and I get if someone's like, I don't like Morgan Wallen, I don't like country music, I don't like him. I get that. There's no music at the Super Bowl proves, as if you needed proof, there's no music act that's going to please everybody. There just isn't one. But what you want to do is sell out the stadium. This guy sells out football stadiums. As a matter of fact, Tuscaloosa is the only show on his tour where he's not playing stadiums in back-to-back nights. He sells out stadiums back-to-back nights. So this is going to make money for the university. It uses Bryant-Denny. It's like another home game for the Tuscaloosa economy. And because we're losing A-Day, I think it's a really cool replacement. Now, hey, like I just mentioned the Super Bowl. Let's say it's Bad Bunny and not Morgan Wallen. I got no interest in Bad Bunny. Don't know his song. I know who he is, and I recognize he's a global superstar. And who knows? Maybe I would go just because, I've got a place up there and it's across the street. And walking across the street to see Bad Bunny might be something I do, even though I don't even know Bad Bunny. But point is, I like this as an A-Day replacement myself because I'm a music fan, a concert fan, and I would go to see most acts that would sell out a stadium. I'm probably in, even if it's not my kind of music, because an act that can sell out a stadium, in my mind, is just worthy of seeing what all the hullabaloo is about.
So that's that.
Hullabaloo in an actual sentence.
I like it. You also said Bad Bunny like 9 times in that one paragraph.
Well, I just want to show that I'm 55 years old, but I know what the kids are listening to.
So there's also talk that Alabama's new basketball arena may be getting fast tracked a little bit more than we thought. Now I'll dig into that a little more, but that's just something else that I've heard.
It's a little surprising to me to hear that. I think that's cool.
Well, we got a new dude, new dude in charge. So anyway, okay, college football playoff rankings tonight. I really believe if they want to do this correctly, they'll put A&M 1. Not just because I'm a SEC homer, but I think A&M deserves it. I think they've got more good wins than anybody else, and they're undefeated. And I would do them 1. I would do Ohio State 2. I would do Indiana 3, and I would do Bama 4. That's what I would do. I understand some people, may want to put Indiana 1 because they feel like they may have the best win of anybody. I don't know that that's necessarily true.
1 week should be about the whole resume.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Texas A&M should be 1, Jimmy.
I couldn't agree more. A&M should be number 1. They have the best resume of the unbeaten teams. I would put A&M 1 myself. A&M 1, Ohio State 2, Indiana 3, Alabama 4. I also think BYU is probably going to be a little overranked tonight, in my opinion, because of their schedule. Though if BYU beats Texas Tech, I might honestly put them ahead of Alabama if they beat Texas Tech. If they have a high-quality road win like that and are undefeated, I wouldn't be upset as an Alabama fan if you leapfrogged even Alabama. But no, I think Alabama is number 4, has earned number 4. And in great shape to make this playoff. And it was vital for Kalen DeBoer to make this playoff this year. And hey, Alabama's not in, folks. There's 3 losable games. You lose 2 of them, you're probably out. And all 3 games are losable, in my opinion, starting this weekend with LSU. And we'll deeper dive LSU on tomorrow's show.
Very quickly, Alabama basketball gets a win last night. It obviously, we talked about it. There was a live reaction show we did. Go back and check that out if you want to hear more about it. Wasn't the prettiest thing we've ever seen, but I think everybody needs to consider there were 4 big time contributors out now. But he will be out maybe extensively. So
I hear
maybe I shouldn't count him.
Late December is what I hear on him. Maybe even late December.
But Aiden Holloway, I mean, look, when LeBaron Philon's getting trapped that much, Aiden Holloway is going to be there to help. Wrightsell can dribble really well, can handle the ball very well. He'll be there to help. Both those guys were out. And then you had Bristow out. I mean, this is a guy that is a scorer. So Alabama didn't score exactly probably the number of points they wanted to, but they still put up 91 with 4 guys. Honestly, all 4 of them could be starters. I mean, if you told me like those 4 guys were on the court with Aiden Sherrill or something, I mean, the LeBron Philon would be out there too, but you know what I'm saying? Like those guys are legit starters potentially. So it doesn't bother me that much. The SEC did pretty well. There weren't many good games. Arizona did defeat Florida. Florida still looks pretty doggone good. And Bethune-Cookman almost beat Auburn, and that would have been high comedy. But as it stands, Auburn got the win in OT, and let's see how they face
all those Auburn fans who blew off the disastrous football season with basketball jokes. Oh, we're a basketball school now. At least we got basketball. Hey,
I was counting on that, Jimmy.
Hey, breaking news to the Auburn hate listener. Sports is hard. I don't know why anybody out there ever thinks that they're so good that they don't need to stress about the games.
Yeah.
Not this level. It's just freaking hard. And Alabama's going to lose some games too with this schedule and with the makeup of this roster. And I think last night showed that this team does have, they're going to turn over the ball.
Yeah.
They could have some rebounding issues. They're not great scoring around the basket with the big guys. And then you're playing an absolutely brutal schedule. So there will be some losses for Alabama, but I'm still highly optimistic that this team will make the NCAA tournament with a good seed and have a good chance to advance. I'm not ready to say yet Elite 8, Final 4. That seems like a lot to me. If I had to predict today, Luke, say how far will Alabama make it? I'm going to say this is a team that gets to the Sweet 16, and that's as far as they go. Though I admit, please prove me wrong. And they could do that. All they need is to get hot shooting the ball, and they can prove me wrong. But I'd rather be right than pump sunshine. So,
well, yeah,
an effort to be right, I'm going to say Sweet 16.
And they could prove you wrong the other way too. So
yes.
There's some things to clean up. But anyway, very happy to get the win. Very happy to be going to Madison Square Garden on Saturday. Can't wait for that game. We'll talk more about it and talk more about LSU next time. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.